So Reconnect with Rockers. I am reconnecting with a new friend who, dude, I feel like you're like an old high school friend of mine. We've been talking just for a few minutes here, but oh my gosh. First of all, I'm a fangirl, so I may fangirl on you a little bit. It's Jared James Nichols. And I love when there's a new artist that just so inspires me. And I'm going to tell you something. You're that guy.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to talk to you today. And the fact that you say that, and we were talking before, obviously we're on air, and I feel like we're kindred spirits. We both love and come from the same thing. Great music, guitars, dogs, all of it. I feel like all in one.
And power trios.
And
I
power
am
trios,
a
yes.
sucker for an amazing power trio.
Oh
That's
my
my whole
goodness.
thing. I just did like a whole story on our website about my favorite power trios, Mountain and King's X, and like all these great power trios. So you come from that school.
Love
Well,
it.
I want to start. First of all, we are so lucky. We're getting you in Jersey at the
Mhm.
Debonair Music Hall. It's a Friday night show on April 21st. This is going to be a great room for you to play. I love the Debonair, and people are super psyched because I have given away tickets for the show, and everybody's like, oh, I saw him opening for Blackstone Cherry, or I saw
Yep.
him, with Zach Wild, or, Father Zach is a Jersey brother
Oh
here.
yeah.
So everybody is excited to have you in this great kind of setting where we're going to get to see you play. And I love the guitar. There's something so magical about guitar. No other instrument can touch it. So when I have artists on this feature, whether it's Steve Vai or Satriani or Brad Gillis from Night Ranger or Nancy Wilson or Nita Strauss, I love talking to people because we have a love affair with it and we don't even play.
Yeah.
And we're still so madly in love. John Mellencamp didn't talk about learning how to play, a keyboard. Nothing against the keys, love the keys, but there's something incredible about the guitar. So I want to talk about your moments because I think you started out playing something else. So when did you
Yeah.
know that I'm going to pick this up and man, this feels good to me?
So here's the thing. I grew up in Wisconsin, right? So like I grew up in like the cornfields. And I remember I was like 14 years old. I loved classic rock radio when I was growing up. Like before I ever wanted to play music, I already knew every lyric to every Zeppelin, it was, but in the Midwest, it was like Styx, Kansas, Foreigner, all the stuff. And I remember my friends started to get guitars. And I was like, oh, that's cool, but I'm going to be the drummer because when I listened to Black Sabbath on the radio or John Bonham from Zeppelin, it was all about the drum fills. So I got a drum set, and I remember I took it from my brother's friend, and it was the one time my dad was a construction worker. He comes home into the basement, and I have the stereo up as loud as it'll go. I'm trying to play along, and he looks at me and he goes, "No, not happening." It was like he put his foot down. He goes, "Get a guitar. You can take it with you. It has a volume knob." And he goes,
Wow.
and the guitar is so cool. But here's the thing. So, Terry, I am a lefty. So when I picked up a guitar, I was holding it like a lefty. And I remember I went to the music store to get my guitar, and the guy goes, "Hey, man, you got to flip your guitar." So he's showing me how to do this, right? And I remember being like, "Oh, this is cool." So I get the guitar, and it comes with this little amplifier, the speaker. And I remember I get home and I plug it in, and there was a button, and it said like distortion. And I was like, "What does that do?" And I clicked it, and the guitar started to like feed back and scream. And that was the moment when I was like, whoa, like this is cool. And I think what it is with the guitar, like it's the most vocal instrument, I feel like. So when we hear it, there's so many colors to the sound of a guitar, especially an electric guitar. And all I can say is when I started to play, it was like this instant gratification because it was like I was in control of it. It was almost like a race car
An
driver.
extension
Although,
of you. It's an extension of who
yeah,
you are. That's what you feel. I feel like the person's soul comes through that instrument. And I
a
can't say
million
that about
percent.
every instrument.
1,000,000%. And I feel like that's why I stuck with it. And I never had aspirations truly to become like a guitarist and try and do this as a career. But the guitar I was so obsessed, and it kept drawing me in. And the more I played it, the more I got connected to it and like emotionally. And it was like I started to try and speak through the guitar. And it was like that was my outlet. So I so agree with you. The guitar, there's something so like I don't use this word a lot, but like mystical and
Mhm.
powerful about it that
Absolutely. It's magic. It's magic.
it's a
It's
magical.
time travel. It's inspiration. It's who you want to be. It's who you were. There's
Yes.
just so many things that come. I'm so happy that you mentioned Sabbath because
Oh
I
yeah.
was going to say, on this record,
Uh-huh.
If you told me you weren't a giant Sabbath fan, I would be like, "You're lying,"
He's lying.
because you've really reinvented that that kind of sound, that dark devil chord, but
Mhm.
still inspirational kind of
Totally.
feel. And I hear so much of that. So I'm so happy that you mentioned Sabbath and the inspiration from Sabbath because I can hear that.
Yeah, and with this record, you'll love this because now that I know you love power trios, I wanted to make a record that served as the menu for a live show because all of my favorite bands, probably like yours, when you hear the record, you hear the show, you're going to get the same package in a live setting.
Custom made for
So,
live performance. Love it.
so we recorded straight to tape, all of us in the same room. That record was made. It's a guitar, it's a bass, and it's the drums. And then I sang over it. And that's it, the whole record. No
Ah,
computers, no nothing.
see, I
And
love that. I love that. Oh
we
my
went
gosh, I
so
love that.
old school, but in a modern way. You know what I mean? Because it's still, I can't lie to anyone. I was born in '89. I grew up listening to, the first rock I heard was grunge stuff. And then, so like I still put all the things I love in it, but we went so old school. It just felt like a stick of dynamite.
And I hear all of those inspirations on this record, familiar yet fresh. I want to talk about a couple of songs. I want to talk
Yeah.
about My Delusion, which is the lead track. So I
Uh-huh.
think the cool thing about it is I think when people hit that as the first track, it kind of sets the tone.
Hmm.
And it's weird because certain records, the sequencing it takes you on a journey and takes you from one song to the next. This record for me, it's almost like all separate vignettes, all separate little stories, which I absolutely loved. So I thought it was brilliant to start with My Delusion because I think it kind of sets things up for what's to come. Yeah.
It absolutely does. And going along with that, I'm so glad that you said that because, I growing up, I was a huge record. I still have all the vinyl I've ever had. So I was always about the flow of an album. And now when I talk to people about that, they go, oh, they don't even think about it. But there's such a cool thing. So what I wanted to do was make every single song have its own place on the record.
Yep.
And like you said, with the vignettes, it has a certain flow and it has different pictures of it. But My Delusion was the first song that we recorded. And I remember when we recorded it, when we were done, we only did 2 takes. So that was take 2 of My Delusion. And I remember we all looked at each other and like at this point, like sweaty, like just like, and we were like, this is it. We went and listened to it in the control room. And it was like My Delusion was the bar. We set the bar right here for the record. And I said, okay, like this is the sound. This is how it needs to be captured. And that was kind of like our, like setting the bar. It's like, here we are at this. Now let's build a record on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can hear that. I want to talk about Down the Drain, which is the
Yeah.
single.
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for that song. And I love the video. The
Cool,
video is
cool.
just like so cool. It's so complimentary to the song.
Yeah.
It really, you really kind of feel where the song is going. And it's for me, it's just a very kind of almost old school
Mhm.
feeling.
Mhm.
Again with that modern sound. So what inspired Down the Drain?
So that Down the Drain, it starts with the most simple guitar riff. Like if we were sitting with our guitars, no matter if you've played for years or you've never touched it, I could teach that to you. And I remember I used to do that all the time with my guitar. And I was sitting there with a friend just doing that when we were talking about something. And he goes, what's that riff? And I was like, I don't know. It's like a million songs, whatever. And we started kind of having this idea. And I always had this line. It was like, follow me down the drain. When you love me, it feels like I'm circling down the drain. So within like 5 minutes, we started to sketch out this idea of the song. And truth be told, I never thought maybe it would be a contender to even go on the record or to be cut. And I did a demo of it and it got sent out to like someone at the label. And all of a sudden it was like, Jared, this Down the Drain song. And it was almost like someone shared like a picture of me with someone that I didn't want. I was like, no, like you heard that,
Oh, right.
Yeah. So all of a sudden everyone loved Down the Drain and we cut it. But where that came from, it was simplicity. It was this really simple idea. And the whole message of the song, which maybe you'll find funny, is like, it's all about when we do things in our life and it's like, I know this could end really, really bad, but I don't care. I'm just all in. you know, whatever, if it's a toxic relationship or
Taking the chance, baby. Yep.
it's like, let's go, let's send it.
Caution the wind.
Whatever happens is going to happen. So that
I
was the
love
mountain
that.
journey.
I
Yeah.
love that. And you can feel that too. There's almost like this reckless abandon in the song when you're listening to it, you know, and Easy Come, Easy Go, which is
Yeah.
another favorite. The hooks are just, there's like 9 hooks in this song. It's like this the fun, chunky party,
Yeah.
cool kind of song, you know? So talk to me a little bit about that tune. That's such a dynamite song on the
Thank you
record.
so much. Well, you know, with that tune, that was kind of the emphasis of where I wanted to take the record because when I listen to a lot of modern records, and I don't want to sound like I'm going throwback or anything, but I'm talking like everything's so perfect. And I'm not very perfect. Like, I don't know, like when I play music, it's all about kind of the feel and the energy. And I remember when I was in the studio with Easy Come, Easy Go, it was like it starts with that guitar riff and it's like I have to be in the right headspace for it. So I started to think with this record, you know, I went into every song and it was like I almost like was almost like just let the music come through me. And I remember with Easy Come, Easy Go, like for instance, the guitar solo in that was never supposed to be that long. It was never supposed to be that crazy. But when we were in the studio, something came over me and it was just like I went for it. And I remember I was doing like the Hendrix thing where I was leaning on my amps, like getting the feedback. And the band just kept going and we kept going. And I remember looking and everyone in the studio was like, yeah, you know? So that song is a perfect example of, yes, total hooks. Like, I love it. I love the vibe of that song. That's like a leaving song. It's like, you know, I still walk alone. You know, it's like, it's got a really cool message. Easy come, easy go. Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
powerful, very empowering kind of song.
totally.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just a super fun party song. And it just carries that energy. And I think that kind of lends to the whole record. It's just got kind of a reckless abandonment, but it's all harnessed and you're waiting for it to go off the tracks, but somehow it stays on.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. So when did you know that you could sing and that you could sort of front? Because let me tell you something, she's going to kill me. But there's a
Uh-oh.
woman in our sales department and I was leaving today because you know, I usually do the reconnects from home. And I said, I'm leaving, you know, I'm doing a Zoom with Jared James Nichols. And she said to me, "Oh my God, he's so hot." Val said this to me. Val, if you're
Yes.
watching, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you.
Val, what's up? No,
The-
I'm just kidding.
So you've got, but you have to have that persona. You're
Mhm,
out front, man, and you're fronting a band. And
mhm.
there's, you know, my guess is with this great power trio, you know, everything isn't always about every bell and whistle. You guys are out there playing. So when did you
Totally.
know, listen, I've got the confidence to, wow, I've got a voice, I've got a throat here. Yeah. And I feel really confident to not just be the guitar player.
Yeah, you know, the first time was I remember when I was having the idea of like starting a power trio because all like all my favorite bands were power trios. Like you said, Cream. I mean, I even think about all of the obviously Mountain, but I think about all those bands like Zeppelin's a power trio with a singer. Sabbath is a power trio with a singer. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, we're getting it together. I'll play the guitar. And I kind of sang just a little bit, but I was pretty nervous. And then I said, well, who's gonna sing? And I'm looking around and I was like, I don't want to go find a singer. I'll just sing. I'll figure it out, right? So I remember thinking to myself, you learned how to play the guitar from like nothing. You didn't know how to play and you taught yourself. So I had to figure out the same thing with my voice. I would say to you that maybe I started to really try and sing. I don't know. It probably took, I would say, a solid 5 years to like
Wow.
to really become comfortable with it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And find my own voice because I feel like with a vocal, you can try and imitate someone really easily. And I just want to be myself. So I started to dig in more and more. And I was like, and during like quarantine and COVID, man, I was just singing and trying to play. And yeah, I'm really, really happy though I went with this route because even in the early days when I was like, I couldn't stand to hear my voice, it got better and I just kept developing it. And then I started to do like what I do with the guitar, where it was like, I can get out what I'm trying to feel inside through my voice and try and make the listener feel what I feel. So that was a powerful thing to kind of discover. And now I love singing as much as I love playing guitar, which is really cool.
So powerful and so emotional. And your journey has been very organic. You know,
Yes.
people may think like, oh, overnight, everybody's buzzing about, you know, Jared James Nichols. He's a great guitar player and, you know, making all these lists for guitar players, but it hasn't been like that. I mean, you started in like 2015
Oh
ish
yeah.
and you put out singles and then you had an EP and now you've got
Mhm.
a full length. And now you have all these great accolades that have just sort of come from people discovering you. You're a Gibson guitar ambassador. Yes. I mean, and
I am.
there's not a whole lot of Gibson guitar ambassadors. And I learned that you were because I saw that Lizzie was, and
Yes.
she's, you know, she's rare. And I think, are there like 4 of you that are Gibson guitar
Yes.
ambassadors?
So it's Lizzie, myself, Slash, Dave Mustaine, and Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So how does that make you feel?
It feels like I don't belong. I mean,
No,
truly,
you do belong.
like
You do belong. Own
I
that.
I it's like a dream come true that like it's like I never dreamed that far. I know that might sound really cheesy, but like I remember when it started to happen, like with the guitar thing, I just tried to put myself out there and be myself, and people started to react to it. And when I started to work with Gibson, I was so blown away because I was like, man, I've loved this, idolized these guitars my whole life. And then it got to the point where kids were, you know, here, I'll show you right here. I had my first
Ooh.
signature guitar came out. This was the
Oh,
first
yes. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
one. So this guitar came out, and like they were like, man, we're only gonna make like a few hundred of them. And I'm like, I don't like make 10 of them. I don't care. I'm excited. And they ended up selling thousands of these. And then this one came out. And
Gosh, look at
now
that. Look at
we're
that.
not, I swear I didn't have these set up to show you, but now that they're all here.
No, I want to see. I want to see.
And this one.
Oh, that is,
So
oh my God,
I
stunning.
just I just feel so lucky. Which color do you like the best? Do you like the blue, the gold?
I'm
Which one do you
going,
like?
I think I might do the blue.
Okay, I'm
I
sending
think
you
I
one.
might do the blue.
I'm sending you one.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Stop.
I'm sending you
That
one.
is amazing. That is just amazing. And to watch you play, you know, because the first, you know, videos that I saw of you, and it was really cool because when I was giving tickets away last week for the show,
Yeah.
a couple of people said to me, oh my God, I've watched him on YouTube and this guy
Mhm.
is so incredible. And
Right.
to just sort of watch your unique approach to
Right.
guitar playing, because I'm looking at you and I'm like, look at his fingers move, but I don't see where's the pick. I'm
No
not
picks.
seeing the pick. There is no pick. And then I'm like, he's pickless.
Yes.
He is pickless. So you have this whole unique style that is really all your own. So of course you should be an ambassador for Gibson guitars. But that was all your own doing. You just literally said, you know what, this is what I feel most comfortable with, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and I think it's like anything, right? And like I'd said before, like about me being left-handed, it just felt better when I could feel the strings under both of my hands. Because like when you're playing here, it's like, of course, you want to be able to know what string you're on, pushing down on what fret. But I love the feeling of the fingers here. And I remember too, a lot of people said to me, they're like, man, you'll never be a professional guitar player if you don't use a guitar pick. And I said, well, I don't care if I'm a professional guitar player. This feels good to me. And what ended up happening, I remember when it started to switch because I started to play gigs. And then I got like one of the first times I was ever recognized. Someone goes, hey, you're that no pick guy. And I'm like, yeah, I am, you know? And it started to become a thing. So I was like, oh, there's this dude plays a guitar without a pick, but really heavy style. And it's something that was so just personal to me that became one of the traits of my playing, which is really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, and there's everything. There's everything about it. It's super heavy. It's
Yeah.
funky. There's that great blues, you know, part of it. And, you know, everybody who has 3 names to me plays guitar. I mean, well, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Jared
Oh
James
man,
Nichols. Like
come
there's
on.
just something about that trifecta of talent that I just absolutely, absolutely love. And I'm telling everybody, get this record, however you get it, however you get music. If you like the vinyl, if you like to want to download, just get it because it is a guitar that feeds the soul record. And
Yes.
I love it. I'm just absolutely obsessed. So yeah,
Well, thank you
fangirl
so
right here,
much.
baby. I'll be at Debonair. I cannot wait to see you. Thanks for coming out and doing a WDHA show for us too. We're really excited.
I'm so excited. One of many. We have a lot of fun stuff to do.
Yeah. Jared James Nichols, thank you so much for joining me on WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. It has been a little slice of heaven.
Oh, thank you, Terry. It's so great to meet you. And yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. I can't wait.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.